let's get started with diving deeper into what you actually are going to be doing today. So this tutorial is going to be teaching you how to make the actual hand of your Felix the Frog. So in your crochet kit, if you have bought the Felix the Frog StanCan Crochet Kit, you'll have your pattern. As well as everything else, you'll have your pattern, and that's the bit that we're just going to focus on first. So you should have on your pattern, let's just look at what is on it basically. So you have your picture of Felix the Frog, you have your materials and tools, you have an abbreviations chart, and a couple of diagrams of some stitches. You then, under the stitches part, you have your pattern notes that can be very, very helpful when working up your Felix the Frog. Make sure to read that to make sure that you're not going to do anything wrong, basically, in your pattern. Then under that, we have the arms part. So this is this part here that I've got with me, and I made this one just before filming this video, just so I could show you what you're going to be making. And yeah, let's get started with actually making this arm. So you're going to need your yarn, which I've got here, a crochet hook, which you get in your crochet kit, and you're going to need your pattern. So it says here, and it will say on your pattern as well, under arms, it says, using yarn A, create an adjustable slip knot and chain 6. So we're going to create an adjustable slip knot. If you don't know how to do that, go and have a look at the blue StanCan videos. The blue videos are all of the stitch tutorials and techniques. So yeah, go and have a look at the blue tutorial playlist, and there is all of the crochet tutorials you'll need on there. But you're just going to create your slip knot, then chain 6. Okay, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so after you've done that, you're then going to do, starting into the second chain from your hook, 1 slip stitch into each of the next 4 chains. So, working into that second chain from your hook, you're going to work a slip stitch, then into the next chain, another slip stitch, and then into the next chain, another slip stitch, okay? So you should have 3 slip stitches along that first chain. And we're going to call that the original chain. That is very important for round 1 of the arms. So that is your original chain. Then it says, in brackets, chain 4, 1 slip stitch into each of the next 3 chains, 1 slip stitch into the next stitch along your original chain. So what does that mean? You're going to start by doing chain 4. So you're going to chain 4, then into this second chain from your hook, a slip stitch, into the next chain, a slip stitch, and into the next chain, a slip stitch. Then into the stitch of your original chain, and I'm going to zoom in a bit here. So we're going to work into that chain there. There we go. Into that chain, you're going to do a slip stitch like I've just done. Okay, so into that chain there. We're then going to chain 4 again. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to work down that finger like we did with that middle one. And then we're going to slip stitch into that last part there. Okay? So that is how we create our fingers. Now we're going to do the actual arm. Okay, so now we have done that fingers, we're going to start working up your arms. And your arms is going to be that part there. So just doing a quick overview of what that part actually is and how we transfer and transform it into a round is you start by doing a row, and then you're going to turn that row into a round by working on the back loop and the front loop. So let me show you what that means. So here is your fingers. So you should have 3 fingers, okay? It then says in your pattern, now turn your work so the fingers are pointing down. you'll be working into the original side or the other side of the original 6 chains. So what that means is when we went into it like that, we was facing that way. We're now going to change it. We're going to turn your fingers so that the fingers are pointing down or pointing towards you, okay? Like so. You're then going to be working along this part here, okay? So this part here, which is the opposite side of that original chain that we made. So it says, round 2, 1 double crochet into each of the next 3 stitches along your original chain, leaving 2 unworked stitches. This will be your first finger. Chain 1 and turn. So let's do that. So into this stitch here, so your first chain or your 5th chain, your first chain, we're going to place a double crochet. Then into the next chain, we're going to place another double crochet. And into the 3rd chain, we're going to place another double crochet. And you can see there, we've left 2 unworked stitches, and that is going to be your finger there. So there's your 3 fingers, and then that part there that we've just made, them 3 double crochets are going to be the starting point of your arm. So now let's go on to round 3. So working into the front loops only, 1 double crochet into the next 3 chains. So I forgot a step. At the end of round 2, it says chain 1 and turn. So you're going to chain 1 and turn your work like that. And now this is where we do working into the front loop only, 1 double crochet into each of the next 3 chains. So of your crochet piece, and if you don't know how to do this, again, there is going to be a blue tutorial somewhere on the StanCan page of how to work into the front loop and how to work into the back loop. You're going to go into basically the loop that is closest to you. So on every stitch, there is always a V. Okay, there is a V, and I can show you the V there. Okay, that's your V there. You're going to be working into the front loops, okay? And then you're going to place a double crochet into that one. Into the next front loop, another double crochet, and into the next front loop, another double crochet. So you should have 3 double crochets into 3 front loops, okay? We're then going to turn your work, working into the back loops only, 1 double crochet into each of the next 3 stitches. So we're going to turn our work round, and then working into the back loops only of them double crochets that we just worked into. So into the back loop only of round 2. Okay, so this is where it does get sort of difficult, sort of confusing. However, make sure you rewatch that as much as you want. Okay, and what we've just done is we've turned a flat piece of crochet into a round. Okay, so we should now have 6 stitches instead of 3. And how we've done that is by working into the front and back loops. I'm just going to grab a piece of paper that I've got next to me and sort of demonstrate how we've done that so that you can grasp the concept if you are still struggling. So here we have a piece of paper. I'm just turning it inside out. Here we go. So let me use some crochet diagrams. Okay, so here we have, and I've just drawn 3 loops. We're going to pretend that them loops are the 3 double crochets from round 2, okay? And I'm going to draw a line down the middle. So this loop here, that one is the front loop, front loop, front loop, front loop, back loop, back loop, back loop, okay? This might be better if I draw it a little bit bigger. So let me draw this a little bit bigger. Okay. There we go. That should be a bit more easier to understand. So we have front loop, and front loop, back loop, and back loop, okay? So that is round 2, okay? And then what we're going to be doing for round 3 is we're going to be placing a double crochet into the back loop, a double crochet into the back loop, a double crochet into the back loop, a double crochet into the front loop, a double crochet into the front loop, and a double crochet into the front loop. Okay. So that is your diagram for round 3. So what you should have is 6 stitches or 6 double crochets in total. Okay. I hope that has explained it a little bit better. And now what we'll be doing is we'll be working in your round as normal amigurumi and just working round and round and round, working that up. So I hope that diagram has explained a little bit further of this crochet technique. And it is quite a nice technique to know how to do, because you can use this if you are designing patterns or later on want to just make as you go. That's quite a nice technique to know. So we're now going to do rounds 4 to 12, double crochet all the way round, 6 stitches for 9 rounds. So what that means, starting into your first double crochet of round 3, 1 double crochet, and then all the way round 1 double crochet. Okay, so 3, 4, 5, and 6, and again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Me personally, I don't use stitch markers when we're working something like this because it's so small. We're only doing 6 stitches each round. I feel that it gets quite annoying taking out your stitch marker, putting it back in every time. But obviously, if you prefer a stitch marker, you can use one. So I'm just going to stop here before I carry on, because there's something that I should show you, is this towel here. So we're going to have a towel on your back of your hand, and obviously this bit, this hand here, there is no towel. So how are we going to get rid of that towel? Most people would usually just cut it, but if we cut it, it's all going to undo. So there's 2 different ways you can get rid of that towel. You can either put it onto a sewing needle and push it through the middle of your arm, or, as these kits do not have sewing needles, they only have stitch markers, what I like to do, and I use this even if I do have a sewing needle, is I put my hook through the middle of the arm, okay, come out at the stitch near that towel, and then I wrap it round my hook and just pull it through the centre. And there we go, it's hidden now because it'll just go inside the middle of your arm, and there's no need to grab a pair of scissors and cut it off. Literally as simple as that, and we've hidden that towel. If it gets in your way whilst working up your arm, you can just poke it into the middle, and there we go, we've got rid of that towel. And now you can pop your hook back onto your crochet work and just carry on as normal. So what I'm going to go and do is I'll stay, however I'll time lapse me crocheting this arm, due to it will take a little bit of time because we've got to do 9 rounds. But I'll come back once I have finished this round, and I'll teach you how to fasten off your work and make it look nice and neat. So yeah, let me go and do that. Okay, so I am now back here, and I finished working up that arm, and I'm just going to grab that towel that we poked in at the start and just pull it up, just so that there's no bulking at the bottom of your arm. And that is your arm done. We are just going to fasten off now. So to fasten off, you're going to slip stitch into the next stitch, okay, chain 1, and then you're either going to use a pair of scissors, or this is my little tip, because Hello Love yarn is so not weak, but it's made of a material that basically it's easy enough to just pull it apart. With also keeping that tension. What I can do, and it's not hard. You can literally just rip it into, and there's no sort of shredding. It doesn't ruin the yarn at all. But that is a good tip. If you haven't got a pair of scissors with you, just literally pull the yarn. Doesn't fray, doesn't hurt your hands. That is just a little tip if you don't have a pair of scissors with you, because I know these kits don't include pair of scissors for obvious reasons. So yeah, that is another really good tip. So that is your arm done, all fastened off. Make sure to leave a towel so that when you're sewing it to the body, you have enough yarn. But there are your arms. If your fingers are looking a little bit weird, they're looking a little bit like that, what you can do is just use your actual fingers to move them around a little bit. If you have something that looks a little bit like this, where it's like a hole, all that you do using your crochet hook, just stretch them stitches out a little bit, and it will all sort of fall back to normal. That just like that, it's not as obvious now. Just use your fingers to make sure that it all looks nice and neat, like so. And there you have your two Felix the Frog crochet arms. Obviously, we've made one together. You just go ahead now, make the other one. You can rewatch the video twice and work alongside with it. I hope you have enjoyed today's crochet tutorial, working up your Felix the Frog. Make sure that if you have bought your Felix the Frog StanCan Crochet Kit, to tag StanCan, Hello Crafts and Stanley's Crochet Workshop when you post it on your social media, because we'd love to have a look, and we might post you on our social media. So yeah, make sure you come back for another StanCan tutorial, and make sure you subscribe as well. It always helps us out here at StanCan, and I'll see you all with another video.